Math is everywhere. I know many of you have heard this before, and just can't seem to see it or just deny it as a fact. Many of you simply find math to be pointless. I can't remember how many times I've heard my classmates say things like, "When are we ever going to use this in life?" Well, in the past few years, kids my age, you guys, have been learning about a graph pattern known as the parabola. In these past few years, I've been observing the presence of parabolic patterns outside of math class. I believe that in explaining these patterns to you, you will walk away understanding how parabolas exist outside of math, knowing where parabolas exist outside of math, and with the ability to recognize your own parabolas. In math, vertical parabolas are the result of two different x values producing the same y values, even though they're different numbers, while also having one y value in the middle of the parabola that doesn't have a pair with an x value that is exactly in between each other pair of corresponding x values, or the vertex. If one thinks of x as cause and y as effect, it is easy to see how parabolas may appear in daily life. Now that you understand how parabolas are present in math, allow me to show you how they present themselves outside of math. For example, atheism. Not atheism in itself, but the reason behind people's being atheist. On one end of the spectrum, there are people who are atheists because they have no knowledge of religion and thus must be atheist. On the other side of the spectrum, there are people who are atheists because they have an exceptional knowledge of religion and see all religions as equal and choose to not follow one single religion and are thus also atheist. Both ends of the spectrum display the same effect, in this case, atheism. However, they both have opposite causes, in this case, an extreme lack of knowledge and an extreme possession of knowledge. In the middle of the parabola, there are people who follow one religion due to their knowledge of that single religion and lack of knowledge in others. A simpler example of a parabola can display the relationship between time and contentment. A person starts out content, but then a problem arises in their life. Once the problem has been resolved, the person goes back to the original state of contentment, but this time for a different reason. The effect in this case is contentment, and the causes are no problem and resolved problem. Another person, Hollis, has seen this parabolic pattern also. She notes that in the world of the TV show South Park, people who are extremely morally good are punished just as much as those who are extremely morally bad. She writes, "Here's a slightly more complicated curve, a parabola that peaks in the middle of the morality scale. In this world, extreme goodness and extreme badness are punished equally, and only the morally indifferent are rewarded. This is the moral universe of a lot of simple satires, such as South Park, which embody the argument that the morally sanctimonious are just as bad as the damned." With an understanding of parabolas and their presence in the real world, you now have the ability